What is going on, everybody? Good?
Good evening, everyone. That's me. I think I didn't mute my YouTube. Sorry.
Come on, babe. That's amateur hour. What are you doing?
Sorry.
It's okay. Well, what's going on, guys? It has been a wild week, folks. Uh, this trial has been just insane. Um, and also, by the way, real quick, do we know if they're gonna deliberate on Tuesday if it's election day? We'll get into that. But we were just having this conversation. Shannon thinks yes. We will find out. Um, but now we are super excited about our creators who crushes with Lanie Hobbs, folks. We are super excited about this. I'll tell you this. We had followed each other on Twitter for a little while, and then I want to make sure I say Shy, right, babe? It's Cheyenne, Shy, right? Nope.
I think.
Shay.
What? It's
Shay.
Shay. Son of a bitch. I blow it every time. Anyway, she added me in a tweet that Lanie had sent out, needing someone with a New York accent to do voiceover work. And I did it, and I struggled mightily. I didn't know what I was doing. But as I was doing it, I look up Lanie's link tree and her all her links, folks. She is crushing the game. Not only does she have a podcast, she has co-founded a podcast festival. She does voiceover work. And what am I forgetting? Oh, audiobooks. She does audiobooks, folks. She is absolutely crushing the game. So, without further ado, Lanie Hobbs. Hey, Lanie.
Hello.
How are you?
Great. How are y'all?
We are excellent, and we found out also, babe. We just discussed Lanie's favorite word, which I'm going to play right now. Is that the correct pronunciation? Can you give us the correct pronunciation of that word?
It's actually, and I'll use it in a sentence so it's easier. Your mother is a puta, right? Like
Puta.
you want to go straight for it. Puta. Yeah.
Puta.
Your sister's a puta, your dad's a puta, whoever. Well, you'd say a puto, but still the same thing. You want to really hit the poot part of it, you know?
Babe, hit us with yours. Let's hear you.
Let's go.
With mine,
Yeah.
Say your mother's a puta.
your mother is a puta.
Ooh, I like it. All right,
That
Jay,
was
your
good,
turn.
babe. Your mother is a puta.
I feel that. I'm going to call my mom right now and tell her.
So let's start out with voice acting. You're a voice actor.
Yeah.
How did you get into that game?
Man, so I think I was just thinking about this because I had a feeling this was going to come up, right? It was part of kind of what got me into podcasting, and I met a wonderful creator through podcasting called Tawny Plattis. At the time, she had a podcast called The History Bits, which is such a great podcast. It was like the naughty and dirty bits of history, and she did such a great job. She's huge on Instagram now and TikTok, but she's actually a voiceover coach. So she told me that I would be good at voice acting and was offering to be my coach, and so kind of introduced me to this world, and I took it on like full-fledged and started, doing demos and doing work. So most of the stuff I do is really like corporate stuff because I have a really good corporate voice. And then I kind of branched into audiobooks because I narrate already for my podcast. So I've been doing voice acting consistently since about 2017. It's also what led into my gig with Parcast or Spotify.
Can you hit us with that corporate voice? What's the corporate voice?
Oh man, okay, let's see. It's like an IVR line, so you know how you get those when you call into like a Toyota dealership and they're like, for sales, press 1. For for customer service, press 2. Like that.
So is that how that's how it works? Kind of like they reach out to you and they say, "Here's what we want to say," and then you just work on it and then
Then you
shoot it
say
back
it.
to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you give a couple of different options. I always like to do a couple of different reads. I don't ever rehearse for anything. I find that I overthink it too much and I will miss the mark so completely if I over rehearse. So I really just do sight reading. So as soon as I get a script, I'm like, okay, I got it, and then I'll read from there. I don't prepare anything that I read, meaning like I won't spend hours with it or anything and go and like mark up a script or anything. I'm just like, I just feel it. I know what I'm reading. I get the vibe, and then I do it. And somehow I do a good job enough that people will want to hire me for it.
By the way, the mods are put. Thank you for putting the link in there. So following everywhere.
Hi,
She
friends.
she is everywhere, folks. She is on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, uh, and the festivals
Threads.
on that. Threads. She's on Threads. She is on it all. So make sure you're checking her out and following her. And let me just say, when you asked me, you sent me the script. First of all, the first time I read the wrong detective. There were two detectives I had to read. I had to do a New York accent. So first I did like 2 takes, and then I did the right detective. But I was in my head. I was like, "Am I trying to do a New York accent, or am I just talking like how I
You're
talk?"
talking. Yeah.
So I was like, so I did it a few times. I said it, and like I was like, "Ugh." And Shannon will tell you, I hate, babe. What do we? I talk about this all the time when we watch. What is it? SVU with
Oh
who's the
yeah,
guy? What's
Law
the
and
guy?
Order SVU. The actor that plays
Ice-T?
Creasy, Creasy,
Oh, I don't know who
maybe.
that is.
And he's actually from Denver, Colorado, and he is pretending to be from New York, and it's real bad.
And not only
Oh, wow.
he's like, I'm gonna bring some of my grandma's cannolis. Like it's like it drives me insane. Like
An
the
impression of a New Yorker is what he's
right,
doing.
and just his the
Gotcha.
script they give him. But I see Bob's here. I forgot to say
Bobby.
we had Bob on when I meant to say this during the intro, but we had Bob on, and he was saying, when I first started in the game, Lanie was one of the first people when I started in the podcast game that I connected with,
Oh,
and helped him out, and he was very appreciative of that. So,
very kind. I love
uh,
Bob.
what was that? What was it like when Bob Mata reaches out to when talks to you about doing pods?
I was so enthralled with him and what he was doing because I had such a negative perception of defense attorneys. I think a lot of true crime listeners can likely relate because those are the people defending the bad guys in our brains, right? We think about, like, for instance, his dad, the John Wayne Gacy, the people who have to defend Richard Ramirez, etc., even the Alec Murdaugh case. Like, some are the bad actors, and then there's some good guys out there like Bob and stuff. And I started listening to his show because I was really interested in seeing what he had to offer from a true crime perspective. I'm a listener first before I'm a creator. So I consume a lot of true crime content. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. So I was always anxious to add another to like my rotation. And when I added Bob's, I was like, oh my God, like he's amazing. Like he's an incredible storyteller. He has an incredible voice. And he just does a great job of laying out exactly what's happening in real time for you and making it so that it's consumable. Um, it was just incredible, and honestly, getting to know him has been even better. He's educated me so much on perceptions I had, again, of defense attorneys within the legal system, and I think is wholly a creator that does not get his flowers as often as he should. Like, he should be top of the charts. He should be being, like, courted by networks every single day because he has such great content, and I can't believe that, one of the guys who's doing it right, who's just about the facts, who has no agenda in this game whatsoever, is not getting the recognition that he deserves, in my opinion. Um, and so I do anything I can to help amplify him, as much as I can, as much as that means and whatever it does. Um, but he's incredible. So I I give him a lot of unsolicited advice. I was with him just recently in Massachusetts, and I had him in the car with me, and I was like, I need to talk to you about your content. I need to talk to you about what's going on with your podcast. And he's great. Like, he really accepts feedback graciously, even if he's probably like, I don't really want it or don't really need it. I think I got this going. And he knows that it comes from a place of love and consideration and care. So, I am truly honored to know Bob. I love him to death. He is one of my greatest friends. I talk to him pretty much every week. And I just love everything he does. So, yeah. And also, I'm trying to use him to get to his wife because I have an incredible girl crush, and I'm hoping that she will leave him for me. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, I will say a lot of folks, we get this all the time because we're always talking about Bob and promoting Bob, and in our Discord or on Twitter, a lot of echo
Hmm.
your sentiments where they're like, I didn't want to hear a word from a defense attorney, And
Yeah.
then Bob is like, "We're defending the Constitution, folks. Like, there's a
Oh my gosh,
reason
yes.
we're out there, and if not, there are people just kicking down your doors and taking you, and there's nothing you could do." So
Yeah.
I think
He
that
I mean, he makes it digestible and all. I mean, Bob loves the Constitution, let me tell you what. And we just had this chat within our group, where there was somebody who got off on one of our friends called it a technicality, but if you know Bob, he's like, "It's not a technicality, it's a constitutional right." So, we all have Bob in our heads whenever we talk about things like that, and it really, like, again, it reshapes your perspective on how you see things because, you know, even with this Charlie Adelson case, I'm like, it sucks. Like, he's a terrible human being. I hope he's found guilty, but, like, his defense attorney has a job to do. Is he doing a great job? I don't really think so. Was I disappointed with the cross today? Absolutely. But I think that probably was strategic, allowing him to kind of get enough rope to hang himself to kind of give all of these because he loves to talk. So I think it was kind of what we needed. I'm hoping closing. I'm getting off on a tangent. Sorry. I was just like
no, that's
super
okay.
into this trial.
No, no,
um, but
we
yeah, I'm hoping their closing is really strong. But I love getting Bob's perspective. I will often text him and be like, I need to understand what this means. And he'll send me like a 3-minute voice memo, which is right up my alley if you know me. And so I love I love having those kinds of conversations with Bob where he's just educating me on things like that.
to your point, and Shan, you could talk about this. You know, with Charlie, it came off that he just had an answer for
For everything.
everything,
Oh my
and like Shan, you know, what were you talking about? Like as far as him remembering everything, like what? Go ahead, baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
actually, it
I think
wasn't this. Yeah.
yeah. The one that just was ridiculous to me was she said, here you're saying I'm going to call you from the landline. Why did you say that? And he says, that was when I was pulling into a parking garage and I was going to lose service. So I knew that I needed to call from and I'm just like, I can't remember 2 days ago what I had for breakfast,
Mm-mm.
but
You have to remember when you're lying, so,
yeah, exactly.
liars are
Which
the best storytellers, so of course they have all the facts.
exactly. A normal person would have been like, guy, I can't recall. I don't know.
Yeah. And not in the way that Wendy does, right? In the way of, like,
Right.
I remember all of those things, but I don't remember that thing in
Right.
particular. I have no memory or recollection of that, but I do remember everything you just asked. So,
Mhm.
yeah. I was like, I think you have to he doesn't do a great job of coming off relatable. He comes off really arrogant, and I think that that's going to not, bode well in his favor because as much as again, Bob, as much as people will, want you to be, like, the juror that's, like, impartial and not taking anything into account other than the law and other than what's before you, you can't help but read into somebody's behavior, like, that is just a natural part of who you are as a human, and being asked to put that aside is really, really difficult, even for those who are saying, like, "I didn't take that into account whatsoever." You're lying. Yes, you did, because any human would. And I think that the testimony today and over the last day or so has not done him any favors whatsoever. It just demonstrated to me that he is culpable in all of this, that he had an opportunity, if this is true, he had an opportunity to come forward and he didn't because it would have brought attention on himself, his sister, and his mother, which I anticipate now that after his conviction, depending on how easy it is to get, and how long the deliberations take, I really do think that his mom's next and then Wendy. I think Wendy's a little bit more difficult to nail down, but I definitely think they're going to go after Donna. And I think that I'm surprised that they didn't bring the older brother into it to say like how toxic this family is and why he like decided to disengage with them. So
Which is interesting because he was on the witness list, and they just
yeah.
decided not to call him. So that was
Yeah, might have been a good thing in the end because it may have just been like, what's relevant here other than we already know this family is cockeyed. I don't know if we need the older brother to say that to and confirm it.
so. This is interesting. So you were very into this. Are you very like? Do you watch most of the trials, or is this a
Oh
particular
yeah,
one? Yeah.
yes, I have watched. I mean, I was watching Court TV when it was Court TV back, in
Mhm.
session and all this stuff. Like when I was in high
Yes.
school, I was watching. court trials and stuff when I started my full-time job. There was, before Kathy Rusan sold to Law and Crime, she had Wild About Trial on Twitter.
Mhm.
And I followed that like nonstop. It was, I think, the Casey Anthony trial, which boo on her, and the Jodi Arias case. Like, those were cases that I watched like from beginning to end. And I'm such a law nerd that I have to like be involved from the very beginning. I'm like, I want to know this case inside and out. And this is way before I am married. Happily so.
We're trying to match make you already in
I
Todd.
that.
know.
Todd.
Stop.
My grief.
And now, however, tell me your son's status in terms of financial stability, because
I thought you were going to say, however,
I was like,
Allie,
a girl
if you're
can be bought.
watching.
A girl can be bought. So I just need to know, like, income and, sister wife type of things, because Allie would have to come with, it's a whole thing. So there's only one like person who can handle me as a human being, and knowingly chose to procreate with me, and that's my husband. So I don't think that I'm going to get that twice, which is why I'll die alone if he ever dies or divorces me, because there's nobody else on the planet for me but him. So it's all jokes. So I spent a lot of my time, especially in college, when I had breaks and stuff. I went to school in San Antonio, and I would go down to the San Antonio courthouse and just spend like my off periods there, or the week, not the weekends, but like when I didn't have classes, I would go and just sit in, the criminal court or the family court and just really like take it all in. Because at the end of the day, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I wanted to, I used to say I want to help people help themselves by putting them in jail. Like, I was just like, but I wanted to be like a prosecutor, right? I was like, I'm going to help them. And now I'm like, I couldn't ever be an attorney like that. So I went into a different field, which is HR, and I do employee relations, which is great because I'm nosy and I like to know other people's business, and they have to tell me as a part of their job in order for me to finish and do my investigations. So I got the best of both worlds. I still have to work in employment law, and know the law within the states that I support. So yeah, I think it's really funny that I transitioned that way.
Well, first of all, I'll let Shannon go because you sound like you guys did Shannon like watched the same trials, so you guys sound very similar. But who just put in the chat? Kim, hello, Spring put. Are you close to Bear County by any chance? Do you
I
live close?
was. That's where I was in when I went to San Antonio. So San
Oh,
Antonio
okay.
is in Bexar County.
Because we have a judge we watched there, Judge Stephanie Boyd, who is just absolutely amazing. If you ever get a chance to go see her, have
Yeah,
you ever seen her? Or
I
she's
have.
oh, you have?
I have. My cousin's SAPD officer. So I get a lot of insight in there, and I've also gone to court there. Whenever I'm on vacation, I'm like, so I love the San Antonio courthouse, honestly. Like, I'm such a nerd that it's just like a duh for me. So yeah.
So you've seen the Queen live and in person, huh?
Yes, you can't
Wow.
miss it, honestly. You have to really soak it in sometimes. There aren't a lot of great fun judges in Dallas, which is why I don't go. But um, yeah, I love the San Antonio courthouse, and I love Royal Ferguson. He's one of the judges that I used to follow a lot. He's in the higher courts. I can't remember now. And I used to love going to his court and stuff because I thought he was such a great and fair judge. I may be wrong now, but at the time, again, I had a skewed vision and ideal of the court system at that time. Now it's definitely a lot more unbiased, is what I would say. I'm not so like the law is always right. I think I have a more jaded perspective, or realistic perspective, that the law can be wrong and often sometimes is, which is why we have people who have been unfairly incarcerated and then exonerated later. So we know that the law system is not perfect. And I think that sometimes for people who listen to true crime is really hard for them to digest. But eventually, as I listen to more and more podcasts, I hope that in turn turns them into advocates in some way, so that they start, like we saw with the Adnan Syed case, even though it's, marred in controversy now. At the time, it was something that people felt really strongly about, and those who believed wholeheartedly in the court system changed their minds and started advocating for somebody who normally wouldn't have any advocates whatsoever. And I think that that's an incredible thing, and the power of podcasting and being a part of, kind of a crowdsource and advocacy.
Go ahead, babe.
So 7 years ago, you got into podcasting.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds like you loved pods from Serial, like from the very beginning of pods, because
Yeah.
that was kind of the beginning of true crime podcasting. So what was it that made you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
Because nobody was doing it the way I thought it should be done.
Perfect.
That's really it. I actually started listening to it was Glenn Washington's, it's an NPR show. Oh my gosh, now I can't remember it, and I used to listen to it all the time. But Glenn Washington, if anybody remembers in the chat, he does a show on NPR, and when I first started listening to it, he started mentioning you can listen to this on Apple Podcasts or on iTunes, and I was like, what's a podcast? And then I started noticing it on my app, on my Apple phone, and I was looking it up, and there I was like, I wonder if there are any true crime podcasts. And that's where I found Generation Y.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led into another unsavory podcast, which I will not mention, and then The Vanished. And from there, it just opened up a whole door to me. And it was through Gen Y that I was like, I have all of these cases. I have all of this research. Like, I'm telling you, I was a nerd. I was on Crime Library almost every day when I was in school and high school, just reading through every single like article. I would start with like the different categories that they had. And then I would just spend like my period going through it and being like, I have to remember everything about this. I need to remember I don't know why. But I was like, I need to remember all of it. So after that, I had this like research and stuff done of like, here, I have all of these things, because what I hear the most is like, send in your recommendations. And I'm like, let me make it so easy for you. Here's the recommendations and also the research, which now as a podcaster, I'd be like, thank you, but I would do my own research. Like, I don't know if I trust anybody to send it in, but like mine came from a place of like, I want to make this as easy as possible, so you'll do it. But then
Right.
understanding like how Gen Y tells a story or goes over a case, it was not at all what I thought would be necessary for the content that I was looking for. I was like, they're going to not talk about this, because they don't typically talk about things like this in their show. They're not going to mention this. And I could bring it to this other show, but like for The Vanished, for instance, but they only cover missing persons. And I really like solved cases or hearing about solved cases. Yes, snap judgment. Thank you. So I just was like, I got to do it myself. And it came at a crossroads in my life, because my husband at the time was my boyfriend. I was in a job I really liked, but it was overwhelming for me because I had grown up most of my life being told that you're only successful if you're successful at your job, and that like the only way you're going to be successful is if you have a lot of money, of which I had none at the time because I was starting out in my career. So it was like, you have to make a lot of money, and then you also have to be at the highest level of your job if you're ever going to be happy and find satisfaction in your life, and which I had neither of those things. And it felt really hopeless, and I was getting really depressed. And my boss, I was telling her about this, and she was like, oh my God, if you think you're going to ever be happy at your job, or find happiness in your job and find this like passion and purpose, no, you're not good. You need to find a hobby. Like, that's what you need to do. You need to find something else outside of your job that's going to give you some purpose and drive. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is that possible, to have a hobby and to be happy with something that's not my job? And my husband now was like, well, you talk about podcasts all the time. Like, why don't you just start a podcast? And I was like, okay, I guess I could. So I spent a year developing it, came up with a really catchy name that it took me a while, but now I'm like, really? I don't think you tried that hard. It was initially called True Crime Fan Club before I rebranded last year. And the idea behind the title was that like, I like the idea of like varsity clubs and things like that, of being like the president of a club, and like, oh, we're all in this club because we're fascinated by true crime. I'm the president, so I have all the information you need. And now I realize like it was just a different time in true crime. So it was created out of something that was meant to be catchy and meant to bring like, a community together versus being something that's made me cringe as the years went on. But I started that in 2016, and I was fortunate enough for the time that I started, that I became a successful show. I leaned on creators like Gen Y, The Vanish, Charlie, um, all of kind of the older creators who've been around for a very long time. They were so gracious with me answering questions about like, how do I start? What equipment do you use? What microphone are you doing? Um, I mean, really everything. And I was so fortunate that I had those mentorships kind of in the background, helping me along, promoting my show, giving me feedback and guesting, and then promoting my show on their own shows and mentioning it. So I was really, really lucky in that sense. So it's been what's led to all of this opportunity in my life, and what has made me so happy and gives me all of this drive, because there's nothing that makes me happier than doing podcasting. Like, I've created so many shows, I've done so many things because of podcasting, and I have great and wonderful friends because of it. So I am eternally thankful for the advice my boss gave me that day to say, go do something else. Like, jobs are not going to make you happy.
Well, tell the folks you rebranded. So what's the name? Where do they
Yes.
find you?
So my podcast, the true crime podcast that I host independently, is called True Crime Cases with Lanie. Again,
Boom.
a great name that I spent a lot of time thinking about. Kind of and not really. I literally just asked my group and I was like, I'm just going to stick to something simple. I'm just going to be like True Crime Cases, and it's with me. Um, I love my logo so much. My friend from high school, Chad, made it for me, and it's just something that I love. Like, I'll never not use that one. It's not like bloody or anything like that. I just think that it really brings home the point. So, so I rebranded last year to True Crime Cases with Lanie. It was really after the 2022 True Crime Podcast Festival that happened in Dallas. And it was really after I met all of these wonderful advocates and survivors that I was moved to make the change. Because initially I was really scared. I was like, well, what are people going to think of me? And what are they going to go, oh, like, I hate hearing the term woke because nobody understands what it actually means. Um, but I was afraid people were going to like rate my podcast negatively because, they were like, oh, you changed your name. Like, you're doing these things because other people are making you, when it was really something I was motivated and felt called to do. Um, and then I realized, like, I actually don't care if you rate my podcast negatively, and I actually don't care if you stop listening to my show, because then you don't care about the content, really, and you were never here for the content. And so I'm happy if you move on from me. And thankfully, the name change has been met with nothing but positivity and appreciation, and I appreciate that. So
And by the
it's
way,
been great.
it's pretty evident not only here but from just the feedback and people have helped you and you want to help people, right? Like
Absolutely.
you have a thing right here. You go to her the website, and right here it tells you how to, like, someone helped you how to start a podcast. You want to help folks how to start a podcast,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. I mean, truly, I can't tell you how many times I get messages, DMs all over the places of people being like, how do I start a podcast? And I'm like, I used to have an email that I would just like copy and paste and say, give me your email, and I would just forward it to you. And then I took some time to put it on the website, and I got some feedback recently, that putting this on the website was really helpful for them. It helped them kind of get started. It's the stuff that I've used, literally from beginning to end, um, from the start of the show to the very, like, where I'm at right now. Because right now what I'm in is in a studio bricks, right? And I don't anticipate or expect anybody who's a podcaster to go and buy a studio bricks. This is a $6,000 piece of equipment that is not cheap whatsoever. It has to be, shipped from freaking Spain. I was lucky that it was somebody ordered the wrong one in Dallas and it was like right down, and I got it at a discount, not that much, but still at a discount. But it was, it's all stuff that's come through the progression of the show being successful. And I want people to experience the same thing. I don't have any competition in the podcasting world at all. I have friends that are incredibly more successful than I am, that started after me, and I never sit back and go, "Oh man, why isn't that me?" I go, "Oh my god, amazing. I'm so happy for you. Like, this is incredible." I only celebrate the success of my friends. So I never sit back and go, I wish this was me, or get envious of that whatsoever. I'm perfectly happy and fine where I'm at because I'm doing a great job on my own. I'm like, I just want to be a support to those in the community. And really, anybody who comes to me and asks me for help or advice, I'm always going to give it, because I had people that I was reaching out to that now I'm like, oh my God, like, like, I can't believe you responded to me. I was like hitting you up like nonstop, and you're this super busy, successful podcaster. Um, and so I have to return the same, you know, extended grace that people gave me when I first started out, without really knowing, like, yeah, I'm incredibly busy, but I will always make time for new creators. And like, I'll guest on your show. It makes me nervous. Like, I think I suck sometimes live, or having interviews and stuff. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm also the worst self promoter. So as I already told you, I'm like, cool, listen, I guess. I mean, that's great and wonderful. I'm the worst at that, at stuff like that. But it's only because it's not about me, like, grand scheme of things. I'm doing a lot of things to help promote other voices, and I just need to utilize my platform to do that. That's really what I'm here for. So I recognize not everybody has the same calling, not everybody has the same desire or drive that I do. So I have to make sure that I do the best I can to, like I said, amplify as many voices as I can. So
Well, first of all, you're doing amazing, by the way. So
thank
I
you.
hope you. And we really appreciate you coming on, and we're
I'm
all.
super drunk. So no, I'm just kidding. Super drunk.
um, and we're the same way. We want to help people. We want to promote people, and we're hoping that this helps. Get you never know, folks, who's watching something or who's listening to something
Right.
where it catches someone else, and they're like, "Wow, this is awesome." So we're so grateful. Thank you for coming on and talking about community and talking about podcasts. Why? So in addition to doing the voiceover acting, in addition to doing the podcasting, you co-founded a true crime of festival, a podcast
Yes.
festival. Talk about that.
Oh man. Yes. So this started back in it technically we launched in 2018 or 19, I can't remember. It really started, we were at me and a bunch of friends were at a different criminal conference, and we were brought there for the first year to help kind of launch it. And everybody kept walking by us, and we were in this like gallery, and nobody had any clue what a podcast was. They were like, so what do you do? And we're like, oh, it's a podcast. And you have these like 60 something year old ladies who are excited to see like um Josh Mankiewicz from Dateline, and then they walk past you and are like, what's a podcast? And I'm like, why are we here? Like, why did we come here? Nobody knows what we're doing. There was no education about us whatsoever. Um, and it was just weird. And I was like, you know what? I really like that idea of just getting here together with all of my friends and just spending the weekend doing exactly what we love, which is talking about podcasts, talking about criminal cases. And that's really it. Like, I was like, I just want to have this huge gathering of podcasters. Um, so me and Lisa, who's also the co-founder, she used to have a true crime show, but she stopped doing it. But she was really who I leaned on to kind of get the podcast festival going. I was like, I don't really know what to do. She had some background with events and stuff. So I was like, you take the charge and I'll just be here as the face and the voice of things, right? So it was really a collaborative effort to bring it to fruition when we started in Chicago. And we, that's so nice, Lauren. We had to take a break, obviously, because of the pandemic. We had a great response to our first year. It was all grassroots. We didn't spend a dime on marketing. We had over 550 people come. Um,
Wow.
and
That's
it was great.
amazing.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was incredible. It was so, um, electric. Like, I mean, it was amazing. And what I tell people now, especially if they've never been to TCPF, is like, prepare yourself. Like, you need a few days off afterwards because it is the most overwhelming event you will ever be a part of. Like, it is constantly buzzing. You will be drained at the end of this. You'll have the best time, but you will be like, wow, that was a lot. Like, I need a break from this. So we had to take a break because of the pandemic. We came back full force 2022, and it was in Dallas. I just had a baby, so I was like, listen, it's got to be easy for me. I got to be able to get there. My baby's little still, so I want to be close to home. And it was a success, right? It became clear at that time that I really wanted to focus on the ethics and advocacy in true crime consumption and true crime creation. And it was really important to me to amplify the voices with my platform, and then also give people, yes,
Whoops,
come
wrong
and
one.
sit on my lap.
I, I meant to highlight. I meant to highlight this one, but
Not
that's
in a
good.
creepy way. Just come and have a seat. I'll bounce you on my knee. So yeah, so I really wanted to create something. So it was really after I had Julie Murray there and Mariah Day. Her mother is Betsy Faria. Julie Murray, obviously, as you know, was on here as well. Sisters Maura Murray, she's an incredible advocate for her. And it was really my opportunity because of the things that Julie's been through, the things that Mariah have been through, in terms of having their stories curated without their voice. I wanted to give them a platform to say, do whatever you want here. Like, this is a safe space. I consider myself to be a bouncer 100%. I'm like, you do not come to my festival whatsoever if you're a piece of crap to people that I know and love. Like, period, end of story. If you've ever approached, and I said this on Shay's podcast, like, if you've ever approached a family member out of pocket, if you've ever called them out of their name, you are not coming to my festival, period, end of story. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care how many books you've written. I don't care how great you think you are. You're not an advocate if you are doing that to a family member or to anybody else. So yeah, and you also have to realize that not every, yeah, basically this. So yeah, not every person who wants to advocate for a family member is the best person to do that. I look at, I don't like to call out anybody in particular because I don't think it's fair, because they may have their own like intrinsic reasons for doing it. But yeah, I mean, sometimes even family members aren't necessarily the best people to do that for them. I like to use Alyssa's case, for instance, Alyssa Turney's case, right? Now that the indictment has come and he's been acquitted, now he's pretending to be an advocate, And so it's like, do I respect all advocates? Not necessarily, right? They're not all built the same. They're not all made equal. So you have to be very conscientious about who you invite, who you engage with. And yeah, I'm trying to do my best. I don't always get it right, even for myself. And I'm not the end all be all of ethics and advocacy or anything like that. I learned from so many people around me. I think there are way better advocates than me out there who are doing action oriented advocacy. And I am always in awe of the work that they do and will always put myself in a position to continue learning. So I think it's just a really good opportunity to use the festival in that way. So for this year that's coming up in 2024, the thing that we're doing that's new is that we're creating the family fund. So everybody who purchases a ticket has an opportunity to donate towards the family fund. And we're going to be using all of the funds that are created to spread it across the family members for their travel. So our families are never charged for tickets. Like, they get their tickets free, their table free, everything like that. They don't get anything charged whatsoever. But it's obviously an expense that they have to take on if they need to travel. We're not at the capacity yet where we can do that. So we created the, family fund to be able to do that. So we'll spread it across evenly. So if it helps for gas, if it helps for food, we're going to do as much as we can to help people get to the podcast festival, and also just, again, utilize as much as we can to bring their stories forward. This last year was incredible. We had John Palmer, who's Katie Palmer's husband, and man, not a dry eye in the in the room whatsoever when he was talking about Katie and his fight, for justice for her. And I was like, this is what changes people's lives. Like, this is seeing these people in real life, seeing the true impact and total impact that something like this tragedy has on somebody's life is what changes people to go, what am I doing? What could I be doing differently? How can I help? And that's really all I want. That's all I want out of this, is for people to walk away having been changed.
And do you know who's not going to be showing up at your festival?
Who?
No putas.
No putas. Well, that's not true. My mom still comes, Jay.
I have to say,
Yeah.
Bob said you're hilarious, and there it is. You are hilarious. By the way, let me pull it up again.
Yes.
Let's talk about 2024. We're July 12th.
Yes,
to
we're going to be in
14th.
Denver, which is great. It's a 420 friendly state for my people who have social anxiety. I'm thinking of you.
That's a lot of us. 420.
Yeah.
We're
And it's really important too for us to get out of a red state, right? Like, we're really, Dallas and Austin was selfishly for me because I needed to be close to home. But now we're like really excited to get out of Texas in general and then head into Denver, which is going to be great. We have a great location, which we'll be announcing soon. Or in terms of the hotel and everything, it's beautiful. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I hope to see, more people there this year. I always like to see it grow. And I hope to see more families there, especially local families. We like to make a difference, as I say, in the communities that we enter. So we always pick a local charity that we're going to donate money to through a portion of the ticket sales. It's a part of what we do. But it's really important for me to make sure that families, especially in that local area, feel like they can come. So it's something that I really want to make, a difference in if we can.
If you don't have a podcast and you're just a guy that yells on the YouTube,
I told you you're coming. I don't know what
am
you're
I allowed
doing.
to have it? I could have a table.
Yeah,
me and Shannon.
we are opening it up to YouTubers as well. We had Kimberlea here this year, and it was really incredible. And she's gonna do. So one of the things we're doing differently for 2024 is we're having 2 tracks. We're having a creator track and an attendee track, because a lot of the creators that attend are independent podcasters, which means you have 0 to no money. When you're starting your show and you're traveling, a lot of this is out of your own pocket. It's not like somebody's over here going, oh my God, here's $1 million, do your show for you, Hope it's grading. Hope it's wonderful. A lot of people spend their time and effort coming into the show and, wanting to present and stuff like that. So I'm excited because of the creator track. We're going to have Kimberlea doing YouTube training and stuff like that, because YouTube is such a different medium than podcasting. Like, we don't have to worry about the things we say when we're podcasting, although we should. We don't. There's no content warnings that are required. Like, you can't say certain words, just like you can't say certain words on TikTok, or you'll get banned or you'll get suppressed or things like that. So, it's one of those things that I'm excited to learn about. I find YouTube to be incredibly intimidating. I have a YouTube channel as well, and I put like my live stream on there that I do True Crime Convos on, and then the podcast goes on there as well. But yeah, it's going to be, I want all of true crime creators to come who feel aligned to our mission. Like, if you care about victims and you care about families and you want to give them an opportunity, because there's no other place that families can come and meet creators all in one room. Like, I think that's what's incredible, is that you have all of these people that have an opportunity to meet all of these podcasts who feel intimidated reaching out to family members, and you have family members coming up to them going like, here, let me tell you about my loved one. Here, let me tell you my story. And then you create these connections of like, I'd love to have you on my show. I'd love to talk to you about this, or I'd love to cover your person's case or whatever. I think it's something that's incredible, and it's an opportunity that, we hopefully make a difference in terms of giving it to families and stuff. So yes, of course you're welcome to come. And if you and Bob, because listen, Bob is a staple at TCPF. Okay, he is always on a panel. He is always finding his way in some discussion, even if he's in the crowd. Like Bob Mata makes himself known. At this point, he's like a founding member, if you will. Like he just is always there. So yes, absolutely. I would love if you guys came. It would be wonderful and fun. So yeah, Brooklyn.
What's the you
What's
saw
a,
the what's the estimate of rough estimate of a cost to start a podcast? Can you put a number
under
on that?
$200? Under $200 if you do it right. I like again on my website. I have really the cheapest options outside of getting a USB microphone that sounds terrible. Because really audio is what makes the difference for how successful your show is, right? Like I will die on this hill. It's probably what one of the things I want to do at TCPF next year is have somebody bring a Blue Yeti that they don't care about and smash it on stage like Office Space style, because those are the worst microphones that you could ever use to start your podcast. They're a waste of money. The $300 or however much they cost now that you spend on a Blue Yeti, you could start your podcast and have some great great audio. So there are a lot of free services out there in terms of hosting companies that you don't have to spend any money on. The Audacity is the thing I recommend all people use. It has the best YouTube tutorials. It's easy. And then as you grow within your podcast and you want a different sound, or you feel more confident as an audio editor, then you can upgrade your your DAW and stuff. And then your microphone, like there's an incredible less than $70 microphone, the A1 ATR, I think 2120 or something like that.
ATR 2100, is that the one right here?
Yes. Like seriously, that's the one I had on my show for the longest time before I upgraded to the Rode Podcaster. Now I have a Rode NT1A. I love Rode products, so I will die on those hills as well. But when you're starting out, you don't have any sound treatment. It's better to have a dynamic microphone because it doesn't pick up any of the acoustics in your room. It doesn't pick up everything around it. It's a directly fed in microphone, unlike the condenser, which is like what I have here, which picks up sounds over here, everywhere around it. So yeah, I mean, truly, I will ask you. I mean, I will answer any questions you have about it. In terms of starting a show and stuff like that, and also give you feedback. Eric Carter Landine, who's one of my really great friends, he started his show and he was like, would you listen to a couple of my episodes and let me know what you think? And I was like, do you want me to be honest with you, or do you want to just hear like super positive things about it? Because I can give you both, right? Like I can go like, here are the really great things about your show, or here is a listener of true crime podcasts, this is what I'm listening for and looking for, and here's what I noticed where you could do better. And he wanted all of the feedback. And so yeah, highly recommend also getting an Airbnb with me. Actually, I'm staying at the hotel, but I'm an incredible cook. Ask Bob. He's had all my food.
Well,
Except he doesn't eat cheese, which is gross because I love cheese.
Bob doesn't eat cheese. Oh my god.
He's so weird. He was
Oh my
like,
god.
I'm gonna
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna like explode in this bathroom, and I was like, who cares? This food is good.
It's worth it for cheese.
I have ranted.
Oh, this is it's a Studio Bricks. I have a giant king duvet in here because it helps prevent the what's it called? The boxiness that can come with having a booth like this. Just FYI, somebody asked it.
I have ranted many a times regarding cheese. Babe, did you just ask her what her favorite cheese was? Is that what you asked? What did you say about cheese?
Oh
No,
God,
I didn't. I said anything
cheese.
it's worth it for cheese.
Oh.
Just
absolutely. No
sometimes
cheese,
you
whatever
have to explode afterwards.
Listen to this, Lanie. One day I come home, and I'm a big fan of nachos. And one day I come home, and Shannon has purchased medium cheddar cheese instead of extra sharp.
Ooh, sharp.
Sharp and extra sharp is the way to go. But I'm gonna bring it back.
Forgive you, right?
Well, this is what she did, and she made this clear, and I had to apologize. That was for the kids. They can have that crap. You got to give me some sharp or extra sharp, or get away from me. I need the sharp. Are you disagreeing with this, Lanie? I feel like maybe.
No, I love extra sharp. I mean, like extra sharp cheddar and Vermont white cheddar cheese are my jam. So
Well, let me
I'm a cheese aficionado.
while we're on food. I mean, I can't believe it's almost been an hour already. This has been
I
amazing.
know.
But while
Wait, you have a bidet?
no bidet or no J. I can't live without a bidet. Wait.
I love you so much. I literally
Yes.
gift people. When I find out people don't have bidets, I'm like, I'm buying you one right now. And I will literally send them my favorite bidet as a housewarming gift. I did it for Josh Hallmark um, for True Crime Bullshit. I was like, you don't understand what will change about your life when you have a bidet. Every room that has a bathroom in my house has a bidet. Like, I get so elated when Airbnbs have bidets. I'm like, oh my God, like this is amazing. So yes,
Oh my
I'm a
god.
bidet girl.
Oh my god,
There's
Lanie.
nothing better than an irrigated beehole. Let me just tell you that. Like, okay.
I wish I had the soundbite that we just become best friends because Lanie, I had a moment where I had a little thing we call I rant sometimes, and I
Right.
said when I become big and famous, if if they have a rider at places and you have to have certain things,
I'm getting a tushy, dude. Or
I
like a
said
Toto.
no bidet, no J. I'm not coming if you don't
Yeah.
have one. I got the
You better
Brondel.
install a
Do you have the
Toto.
Brondel? Is it Brondel or Brondo? I got
No.
it's like the seat.
Hmm.
Not only does the seat warm up, the water warms up. It has different. It's really heaven. And if you're
But it has
still,
a lady bit cleaner, right?
it
Because you
has
got to
that.
accept
Yes, it has
ladies.
both. It
Okay,
has
great.
both options.
Yeah.
Folks, stop being cave people. If you're
This is
gonna,
the thing. Are you going to step in shit and wipe it off with a napkin, or are you going to go and wipe it off with some water?
this is what I was just
Like, you're
gonna say.
not just going to go like, oh, I guess it's clean. No, you're going to be like, spray that
Thank you.
shit with the hose.
Oh
Hello.
my
Come on,
god.
guys.
This is
Um, yeah, you got to definitely need a bidet. Um, it's one of my favorite things. And we also have a sprayer too. So like I cloth diaper. My baby's almost done out of diapers. She's like super potty trained, which breaks my heart and wonderful at the same time. But even she is getting acclimated to the bidet. I'm like, we have the sprayer. We're spraying your butt. Like, I am not wiping your ass. Okay, this is not going to happen. We're going to spray the poop off and then we're good. Um, so yeah, I'm 100% down with the bidet. My dentist's office, this is how in line I am with needing a bidet. My dentist's office has a bidet, and so does my eye doctor. They have the tushy. I go to the rich part of towns, okay, for that. I'm all like, my dentist goes, I literally save what I need to do to go use a Toto, okay? I have no shame. No
Oh,
shame.
this is amazing! What amazing news! The bidet community, we've added a member. We're going strong.
No wet wipe.
Stop being a caveman and using
Yes.
freaking like if you get chocolate on the counter, you're gonna wipe. You need water. You're not gonna
Use
just.
your tongue. That's at this point, use your tongue if you're not going to use water. Yes.
um, babe,
I
did you
poop
have anything
wherever. My
else?
husband does not poop anywhere. I poop wherever. No shame.
This is amazing. This is just amazing.
Save that. Clip it.
We're clipping it. We're marketing it. We're saving it.
Right.
This is Charlotte says Jay feels like he's starring in his own dream. Another bidet aficionado. Absolutely.
Yes. And if
Uh,
you don't have like electricity in your bathroom, some people don't, right? So you can't get like the seated or the heated bidet and stuff like that. I have a good option. So feel free to DM me and I'll send you my fave. And if you're nice to me, I will buy you one. I'm not kidding. I have bought many people a bidet and have changed their lives. Even like my best friend's sister is a hardcore, like, I don't judge people for their political status. I just have to say it. But that's because she says this about herself, not because I'm saying it, okay? But she lives in Wisconsin. She's interested in the opposite side of the aisle, which is super to the right. And they have this weird thing about their buttholes. Like, girl, let me change your life. Like, I got them a bidet, and then she was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever had in my life. And I was like, right? And the lady bit cleaner is what's the most important part. My husband doesn't like it because I end up leaving the lady bit cleaner on, and he says it hits his man bits. So yeah, he's just like, every time I know it's after you because it hits me right in the balls. And I'm like, you could at least switch it. And I was like, it's like our retribution for you guys never leaving the seat up, or never putting it down. So like, I'm gonna leave the bidet on the lady bit cleaner side, so you get hit in the gooch.
right in the yam bags.
Yep.
Babe, did you have? I can't believe it. We have literally been an hour.
Cheers.
Babe, did you have anything else that you wanted to say? Because I
I
feel like you
mean,
do.
I could ask her a million more questions, but I did want to say you have in your bio that you're a content strategist.
Yes. Oh my
And
God. Yeah. So I do UGC too, which is
yeah,
insane.
can you
Yeah.
just
So
give us a brief rundown on that?
yeah. So UGC is user generated content. If you've ever gone on TikTok or Instagram and you've seen those people go, stop scrolling, TikTok made me buy it. That's what
Mhm.
I do. So those are not organic ads. Those aren't people going like, oh my God, TikTok made me buy it. Brands pay us to create this organic content. And if you're good at it, then it does well. And then you get great brand deals out of it. So I do love oatmeal raisin cookies. Um, but I'm a weirdo. So yeah, I mean, it's literally anything. I've done a bunch of like dog stuff, beauty stuff, sleep stuff. My kid's been in stuff. I don't use her very often because I don't like her being out on the internet. So she does really like random stuff. So yeah, I just create brands, and you don't have to be an influencer. Like you don't have to have millions of followers on TikTok or Instagram. You really just are creating these videos for brands to use and place out in the internet world. So you don't have to have anything. I like Raisin Bran too. I mean, I'm a weirdo. I'm
Wait, but
telling you.
let's just say let's if you can have
Yeah.
a night if you can have a nice cookie. If you're picking your cookie,
Ugh.
are you picking
A
oatmeal raisin?
snickerdoodle. No, I'm picking a
Snickerdoodle. Okay.
snickerdoodle.
What
Good
about
choice.
what about chocolate chip or oatmeal
I hate
raisin?
chocolate.
Son of a bitch.
I'm not perfect. I mean, I have flaws.
It's
You
okay.
know what I'm
It's
saying?
okay.
So,
It's
like,
okay.
yeah, I
But you're
don't do
not
it.
going to take because we publicly buzzed Steve. We had a big thing because his favorite cookie in the world, if he can have any
Hmm.
cookie, is a Subway oatmeal raisin cookie.
Subway food isn't even real. It's literally yoga mats. It's not even real bread. They're
Steve, you hear
feeding
that?
you
So
foam. So you're like, I like this cookie. I'm sure it's real. Like it's genetically modified chocolate that doesn't even grow on a tree. Like they built it from a cow's butt. I don't know. So yeah,
uh, well, I mean, you're
strange.
absolutely crushing the game, and also we could very much tell you're. I normally end this by welcoming you to J Bo Nation, but let's talk about this at the end here because actually, Missy Mayhem is in here, and you were just talking
Yes, I
about
love
this
her. Hmm.
before you actually heard of J Bo Nation at your
Yes,
festival, right? Tell the
yes.
folks. Tell the
I think
folks.
probably because of Missy. So like I was telling you guys earlier that I was at TCPF. I noticed Bob had been interacting a lot with you on Twitter. And so I was like, who are these people? Are they good people? Should I know them? Should I interact with them? And all signs led to yes, right? I like to say Bob's a good barometer for people, but sometimes he isn't. And so I'm like, I have to kind of weigh it like the scales of justice. I have to go, uh, and so this was on the good side. And I noticed, I think Missy walked in with a shirt of yours and she was like, I got this. I can't remember if it was like actually said J Boy Nation or if it had like
Brang
a,
the jury, I think it was. Brang
yeah,
the jury.
Brang the Jury. Um, and I was like, that's really funny. And I was like, I love that. And then I had to like do a whole deep dive of like what it meant because I wasn't going to ask. I was going to be like, what does that mean? I'm like, no, I need to know. I'll know by myself. And then I'll be a cool kid and be like, of course I know that that's from the Murdaugh trial. So that's how I found out. About all of this, and I was like, look at this. And then I saw her posting on I think it was Instagram or on Twitter, and then other people were so like, oh my god, that's so awesome that you were there and like representing. And I love, like, there's nothing I'm more jealous of, probably, if I have to say I'm jealous of anything, is the like crowd that you pull in terms of like your followers and stuff like that. Like the community that you've created is really so enviable, because that's one of my favorite things that I love to see, is that like you have great creators out there who build this community that people feel like they're a part of it, they know you, and then they absolutely like want to represent you out in the public and make sure people like go, what does that shirt mean, or what's that about? I think that's really great and wonderful. It's something that I've never been successful at doing in terms of my shows, because I'm so broad and like going around and doing all these other things that I love. to see, as some people say, a cult following. I think it's enviable, and I want to start a cult. I am in Texas. Like, it just feels like I should, you know?
It's the next logical step for you, honestly.
Clearly. So yeah, no, I think it's really great. And honestly, one of the coolest things I've seen thus far. Like, I love watching your streams now when you go on and everything, and seeing like everybody just like constantly interact, and seeing like people know each other now, and then they're like conversing in the chat. I think that's so cool. I'm such a freaking nerd. So yeah,
Well, now you're
now
officially
it'll be
in.
me. But I just hit on Allie every time she's on. I'm like, she's mine.
Well, now you can officially welcome. I mean, you're in J-Bo Nation now, so
Yay!
all those folks are gonna follow on Twitter. Go to the link tree if you aren't already following Twitter. Go to the podcast and give it 5 stars, folks. We've said this before. We don't know how the algorithm works, but it works. So you want to push content, you want to support people, give them 5 stars on their podcast, and then more people can see it.
Thanks.
So we really appreciate you coming on here and spending this time. And by the way, folks, she just got over COVID. She's not feeling great, and she's
Yeah,
still
sorry.
no, nothing to apologize. Thank you for coming on and still crushing this. I mean, you just absolutely killed it. Everyone in the chat
Thank you.
is loving it. So, and they're saying you love bidets, you love cheese. What else can
I
we
love
say?
cheese. I make a beautiful charcuterie board. I'm not even joking you. Like, I will spend hundreds of dollars on cheese, and I'll just be like, I will spoil brat you all day. Like, we had this Airbnb in Massachusetts, and I was like, I am in my like thriving zone, because I will cook breakfast for you. I will make sure you have all your food and drinks, and I will take care of it. Like, I was cooking brunch for people. I was just like, this is my favorite thing. And I introduce people to the funniest foods, because, like, if you're in Texas and you've eaten Tex-Mex food, you know what, like, migas are, and you know what, like, chilaquiles are. But, like, my friend Charlie from Crime Lines, she's from Kansas, and she was like, what are these called? And I was like, these are called migas. Like, this is like poor people food, in terms of like, we ate this when I was super poor, and it was like the best thing ever. So it was so funny. If you've never had migas before, it's basically like, it's the dry version of chilaquiles. And if you've never had chilaquiles before, it's basically like shredded corn tortillas with eggs. And then you could throw cheese on it if you want to. It's the simplest meal you could ever have in your life. It's salty. It's so good. It's one of the best things ever. And then I don't like super wet food, so I don't like chilaquiles, but I made like a chilaquila bar, so you could go and like put your hot sauce on it if you wanted to, and you could put sour cream on it, and chile. I don't say salsa because that's weird, but like chile is salsa and stuff like that, so you could do that. But yeah, my favorite cheese is really, really hard to pick. I will say that I love a good sharp cheddar cheese. Wisconsin white cheddar cheese is one of my favorite cheeses. But I also love a good baked brie with some apricot spread. Like, that's one of my favorite things. But yeah, me and cheese, we're BFFs. I have not met a cheese I don't like.
What about Havarti? I like a Havarti.
Oh, I love Havarti. Yes.
Havarti's
Oh my God. But see, I'm a purist with my cheese, so I don't like a ton of things in my cheese. So I don't like Havarti with dill.
Get it out.
I don't like Havarti
no
with
dill. No, get that shit out of there.
I don't want any of that. I just want cheese. Queso fresco, one of my favorites. Oh my God, I could eat that by the handful. But yeah, I love cheese. Everything. I hate chocolate. That's my flaw. And I can't apologize for it, because I was just born this way. Oh, have you guys ever had bread cheese?
What the hell is bread cheese?
Oh my God, it is so good. You basically like grill it, and it's this like thick cheese. You can put it on. It's like you could add it like it's its own bread. Oh, I'll send you a link because it's really good. I love fontina. I love all cheeses, so that's a whole thing. Sorry.
That's right. By the way, Shannon also from Kansas, just like Charlie. So were you familiar?
You eat chili with your cinnamon rolls? You do that?
Have you tried it though?
Will not. Will not. I'm gonna pass.
It's just something about it. That is the Kansas thing. That's true.
I was like, no, you guys are weird. No, thank you.
So folks, again, if you aren't already following Lanie on Twitter, follow her. Podcast 5 stars. Where else? TikTok, Instagram, and you said Instagram's kind of the best way to contact you. Is that the
that's the best way to get me going if you talk to me there, because I don't ever see like the DMs on Twitter. I have to really try. But yeah, Twitter or Instagram's the easiest way to ever reach out to me.
Well, I think that's it. So thank you so much. And by the way, I have the portal set up on YouTube. It's going to everyone in the chat's going to go to our Feral Friday tonight, publicly buzzed. Me, Steve, Bob Mata going to be talking Delphi,
Woo!
folks. So make sure to like that, get it in the algorithm. Lanie, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Everyone on Twitter. Make sure you say welcome to J-Bo Nation. Welcome her to the group.
I need a shirt. Do you have merch?
We do
now
have
I'm gonna
merch.
need it.
We got merch.
We do have merch. So
I'll send you guys some stuff too.
Yeah, we'll definitely send you something. So
You don't have to.
all right.
I don't take things for free. I buy them. So I will buy the things. That's just how I am. I'm a weirdo. I told you.
Well, we are going to send you at the very least some stickers because that's what we send to our guests. So we got to get your address. But
yes.
Good night, everybody. Thanks so much,
yes,
Lanie.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hi, friends.
Thank you for joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation. No, it won't be real long until next time. Oh, J-Bo Nation, there's no place we'd rather be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation